might have to lower that intro. Was it loud on your end,
I,
Addy?
I turned my speakers down. I kind of like it though. Got to
I
get
wanted
the music
some
going.
metal. I need metal when I do these shows. It just it gives me the energy I need to move forward.
It
Welcome,
definitely got the mood going.
yeah, yeah. Welcome everyone to season 2 of In the Vapor, a show about individuals in our community and industry. The goal of this show is to show the world that we come from all different walks of life, and most importantly, that we're not bots. We're not bots. We're not bots in here. It still gets me. It still gets me that they associated us as bots. It makes me laugh. And joining me tonight as my guest in the Vapor, the one and only Addy Tuney is with us. I asked myself, where do I find Addy? And the list just goes on and on. For starters, he's on his own Twitter account. All the links to Addy stuff will be in the header. His own Twitter account. He's on YouTube, IG, and Facebook. And I mean, you're on Grim's YouTube channel, helping him out in the chat there. You're on ours. You are everywhere. So I was like, yeah, you can't have a hard time finding Addy. Addy's everywhere.
But I learned a long time ago. I really love the community. It's full of loving, caring people, and it deserves its own attention.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that was like, we're both of age. I'm 56 years old. So we grew up with our parents belonging to clubs, the Elk Clubs, the Knights of Columbus, all these different organizations, seeing how, my dad was best friends with this guy, that guy. And it was all due to being part of that organization. And I got the same sense that like the first month and a half of being in this community. Did you get that sense? Yeah,
It's
like,
amazing. It's something to be said for the old times too, because people had to make their own fun. We didn't have the internet and all this stuff to divert us, and you know,
no, yeah, we didn't have the pocket computer. We had to, actually had to look at someone face to face, say a handshake, and your dad teaching you, hey, firm grip, son, firm grip. Yeah, that was and throughout the years, that's one of the things I think is absolutely amazing about this community is just the friendships and the bonds that are created over years. Just bumping into those guys at the early stages of my career in this industry, and going to the shows and seeing Grim and Matt and Mark and all those guys, and then bumping into people that you saw on their YouTube videos, hey, are you John? Yeah. And just, and then this bond is just absolutely created. And it's just an amazing feeling,
and everybody in the community is approachable.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Like kind of like, I don't know what in sports I would say, like the hockey players. They're
Yes.
always willing to talk to you. They're not.
Yes. You're absolutely right. Out of all the 4 sports, they're probably the easiest to approach and say hello to and talk to and get autographs from. It's hockey guys.
Yeah.
And if you piss them off, they'll just forecheck you into the glass. So
Just go all Ty-Domi on you.
oh, thank you. I'll pick up my teeth and leave. sorry for asking for an autograph.
Right.
Matt, yes. Hello, everybody out there in chat. Mallory, I see Mallory out there. I see Mark out there. There's 11. Don't be shy, guys. Say hello in the chat. I have been so excited to do this interview all week. I've been like, all right, I got Addy on the show, man. I'm gonna get to ask him all these fun questions, and just get to know you a lot better. So we're gonna start off with the big one, Addy. You know which one this is, so
No pineapple on pizza. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Does Addy want pineapple or does Addy not want pineapple?
No pineapple on.
Thank you, guys. Yes.
There is something said about a little cherry. You look on your ham roast. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Little ham, a little cherry, or maybe a little pineapple puree. It has its place, right?
Yeah. Mallory's on. No, Mallory. There are still us. There's still a few of us out there, and I'm proud to say that the New Yorker answered that question correctly. I think you would have got yourself in a lot of trouble if you said pineapple on pizza.
I have a lot of questions about you and Zample Box too. So hopefully, if we have some time, I want to ask
Oh,
you.
you bet. You bet. You bet. You bet.
But yeah, the
Uh,
community is great, and one huge aspect a lot of people don't talk about. There's a lot of people in recovery in the
yes.
vaping community.
Yeah, that was the first thing I noticed when I joined. Came into, I started going to the shows for Zamblebox and doing things for them and taking pictures and stuff. And I got to sit back and talk to some of the people, and that was the first thing I picked up on. I'm a recovering addict. I'm using vaping to, to help me get through it. And I was just like amazed that here I am, trying to beat an addiction, and he's not only trying to beat a smoking addiction, but also trying to beat a heroin addiction.
Right,
Amazing. Amazing.
right.
Your dedication to the vaping community is well known, Addy. But what are some other interests and community clubs, organizations that you are involved in outside of vaping?
I don't know. I've had a lot of hobbies over the years,
Yeah.
but it's I don't know. It's range from making knives and collecting knives to
Yeah.
with guns and putzing around with that, and building computers and still being into that. And like we were talking about Buffalo, how your uncle lives around here, and there when I was still working, I'm retired now, 64, but the factory I worked at, they allowed me to rebuild a lot of the computers, so I donated them to a group
Oh,
in
nice.
it's
Nice.
called Computers for Children, and that kept me busy for quite a while. But I'm all dedicated to vape advocacy now, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, you've gotten to see the evolution of computers then.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, my first one was a TRS-80, and I had to write all the code in there. My dad gave me this big book. I said, "Are you kidding me? I got to do all this just to get the screen to change from blue to red? Or
Oh
this
my
is a
God,
lot."
that's amazing, John.
And then the tape drive and the cassettes to save data on there, and with the core, I was like, "All right, this is insane." But yeah, I was glad my dad went and got us a computer, and at first we were like, okay, does it play games, Dad? Because we had the Atari. Everybody had the Atari. It's like, all right, can we play games? Yeah, you can play games, but no games, no games.
Well, it's funny. My mom worked for Bell Aerospace for years. That was her career, and I still remember she would bring punch cards home because
Yeah,
she worked
yeah, all the
um,
punch cards.
in
Yeah,
HR, so she would have to do everybody's like punch card information, and it's just amazing how far we've come.
yeah, yeah. We've gone from needing a huge warehouse to store one computer to these little tiny things that we put in our pockets.
Amazing.
Hey, Jeffrey. Jeffrey's out there.
Jeffrey.
We all have a moment where inside our heads we're yelling those lines from the movie network. I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take it anymore. Do you remember when that moment happened for you in the vaping journey, in your vaping journey? Oh, tongue twisted. I shouldn't have had that beer, Addy. Damn Coors Light.
Oh, I don't know if I can remember a specific moment. What sticks out to me is one of the past FDA guys. Who's the guy who went to work for Pfizer? Sat on the board.
Oh,
Scott Gottlieb.
yeah, Gottlieb. Yeah.
When he was saying about the teen vaping epidemic. It was, I mean, there was bad stuff happened way before that, but that's what really sticks out in my mind.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There was, I was trying, the moment I got the maddest, and I said, okay, I have to do something. It's the day I walked into the shop that I was buying stuff from, and he told me I couldn't buy wire there anymore. And I just learned how to build. And I'm like, not thinking, hey, I can get this online, but it was just nice being able to walk in there and buy wire. And
Yeah,
that was 2012. 2012, I think, is when that I think that all hit, and where they, yeah, he didn't have any more rebuildables, no more RDAs in the shop. There was no more wire. They couldn't make you coils anymore. It was an eye opener for me because it was just something I just learned how to do. I was like, I
And,
just learned how to make coils, and you're
and
taking this
I
away.
can still picture those, that artwork from Eric Violin Vapor,
Yeah, yeah,
and I
yeah,
can still see M Turk, standing in front of the vape shop. It's like, and I would go to vape shops a lot back then, and I would
yeah.
help people because you weren't a so with the vape shop. You could. So again, the community steps up and goes into the vape shop and helps vapors that way.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, yeah. I mean, it was just strange because they had it was the first shop that had a class. That what they did, it wasn't a class, but what they did is they had like a bunch of folding tables they would put out every Sunday, and you just had to bring a drill and a few tools, and they had classes. So everybody was sitting next to each other, getting to talk to each other and learning how to make, just a standard coil, standard 3 millimeter coil, 9 wraps with 24 gauge wire. And we would just all sit there and that's what I thought. Like I said, it was amazing. I met people in that shop. I honest to God, I probably would have never met in Modesto, even though they lived right here. I would probably have never met them, but I ended up having friendships with those guys now for a good 8-9 years, and gotten them to advocate and be part of the community. And we all all of us kind of keep an eye on our city councilmen, and it's like our job to make sure we pay attention to what they're doing. And I cannot stress that to anyone out there that's listening. But that's where it starts, guys. So stay focused on what's going on in your city council, because if your city council sneaks a vape bill through there and you wake up the next day and you're like, what happened to my vaping? You only have yourself to blame. So, and it's a great way to learn politics, and an easy way, because city councilmen they're very easy to get a hold of. Usually it's your neighbor. It's a guy that lives in your neighborhood.
Right.
If you can't,
They're willing to talk to you. They're just normal
yeah,
people like we are, like you just
yeah,
said.
yeah, exactly. What was Addy's first job, and did you quit or get fired, Addy?
I was a paper boy. I shared a paper route. I don't know, it was like 11 or 12, and
Yeah,
I quit for more higher paying jobs.
there you go. Did you quit? Did you say? Did you throw the? Remember the old mailbag? You throw the mailbag at that guy and say, I'm not doing this no more.
Oh, I hated Sundays, to be one slung on each shoulder, and
Oh my God.
each paper route. I think there was 216 papers, and
Oh, you had a big route then. You had a big route. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I think I remember is like 120, and then begging my little brother to come out and help me when it was raining to put them in bags. It's
oh,
like,
yeah. I think the worst part about leaving was trying to find a replacement, because the paper begged me to find somebody to take the route over.
yeah, yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, no, that it's too bad that job is no longer available to me. Now adults have taken over that job.
Yeah.
Well, no, they're gone. The paper industry is pretty much done, but I remember adults taking over that part of it, and I was sad seeing that. That was a great job for a kid to have when he was 13,
Yeah.
14.
I mean, only adults were the ones that took the big bundles and put them in the boxes, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And in the morning, you'd get outside at 4, and he would come drive by your house, and he would throw that thing at you, and you grab it. I had a nice guy. He would.
Hands off.
I had the nice guy who would pull up and hand it to me. He didn't throw it at me.
Oh, no.
Oh, the first poster on your wall as a teenager was.
Oh, it was I think it was the Farrah Fawcett from Spencer's.
Yes, yes. What kid didn't have that poster?
I know.
Oh shoot!
Tell us the Lee Majors,
Yeah, 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 yeah. She was the thing. Her and Bo Derek. You either had, and then if you were my brother, you had both of those and the Bruce Lee poster up. You had to have the Bruce Lee poster using his nunchucks. I'm like, why you got Farrah Fawcett, Bo Derek, and then you got Bruce Lee in the middle. Those three posters don't belong together.
Right.
What would you do if you got an hour all alone in the White House, Addy?
Oh, I would reprogram all their computers so they had to read 2 paragraphs of the Royal College of Physicians printout to even log in. So every time they went to log in, they'd have to continue on and then eventually have to read the whole thing.
I think that's meaner than taking all the batteries out of all the remotes, which we got from, I can't remember who's, I think that was Allison's. I'm going to take all the batteries out of all the remotes. I go, that's cold. That's cold.
I know one thing I wouldn't do is take a black light to the president's desk. That's for sure.
Oh, no, 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 no. Or the Lincoln Room. That's the other hot spot for,
Is it?
for a little hanky panky. Oh, man. What is the one band or musician that you would love to party with?
Oh,
Dead or alive? Dead or alive? You had an opportunity.
Jerry Garcia.
Jerry Garcia. God, that'd be a rough night, though, boy, Addy. You think you couldn't keep up with him today, but you in your 20s, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
We last year we went to see Dead and Company, on their final tour. Oh my God, it was amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing show with John Mayer.
Oh, yeah. Some are saying that John Mayer is right up there with some of the greatest guitar players. I don't know, man.
It was they were tight. A lot of new blood in the band. It was great. It was a great show.
Mallory, you don't? I could see him. I could see him with a headband running around in the 70s with his peace and love sticker on his Ford van. Or no, it would be the Volkswagen.
The bus.
The bus.
Hi, Peggy.
Hey, Michelle. Oh, that's funny. If you were arrested with no explanation, what would your friends and family assume you have done, Addy?
Oh, Bloomberg.
You're gonna go mess with his source coding on his computer.
There's a few people that really make me angry. Being in the advocacy space.
Yeah.
That it would take a lot for me to control myself if I ever met him in person.
Yeah. Well, that always comes up. I talk this. He never sits down with anybody. He doesn't discuss anything that he's giving money to. He kind of stays in his little world, is isolated from everyone else, and we all know that it's somebody else that's deciding and in his ear saying, "Hey, do this and send money here, send money here." But I always wondered if you had an opportunity to sit down with him, how would you go about it? Because you want him to listen. You want him to listen to you. Yeah.
I would bring up the facts, and tell him what I see in my day-to-day life, the experiences I've had, the people I've talked to,
Yeah.
And but to him, it's all about feeding all his NGOs.
Yep.
And, and looking for him they're all tax shelters for him. So the more he can feed, the more, less taxes he has to pay, the more his fortune just stays the same.
And being a New Yorker, how's he looked upon by New Yorkers? He's still beloved?
No. Well, only by the politicians and the people, the money.
Right.
Everybody else really dislikes him that I know of.
Yeah. I think the soda incident really set him back.
Well, and the stop and frisk in New York City, right? It was
one
of the worst things to happen civil rights that there ever was in New York.
Yeah. He's gotten away with a lot. He has. Let's see, where are we at? I don't know if you're going to do this, Addy, but we always have this question, so we'll give it a go. If you don't want to do it, don't worry about it. You know where I'm going, right? First song you remember learning all the words to was, and could you sing a few bars of it for us?
It's funny. It was my very first album. I bought it from Sears and Roebuck, and it was Three Dog Night. Oh. Jeremiah was a bullfrog. Was a good friend of mine. Never understood a single word he said, but I helped him drink his wine. He always had some mighty fine wine, John.
Nice, nice, nice. I listened to that. I think I have that album somewhere over here, and I gotta look to. I got like cases and cases of albums, and everyone's like, "Buy a record player, John. Buy a record player," and I'm like, "No, I kind of like the way the internet radio sounds right now. I don't know if I like."
Well, we're so spoiled, right? I mean, record player takes up so much space, and it's a ground
Yeah,
connection and all this.
yeah, yeah. No, but it's still, it's still nice to hear that little crackle. When
Yeah,
you put that needle down on that record and you hear that, and it
yeah,
starts playing, you're just like, okay. That, and all you can remember is 1975, 1978, sitting there. For me, it was sitting there listening to Bing Crosby and Frank Sinatra and Jerry Dean Martin and those in that bunch. Grew up Italian people, so
yeah.
those are the albums that were playing at the house. So yeah, so it always brings back memory when as soon as I hear that needle hit and you hear that, and then it just starts playing to the
I
song.
know. Well, my mom was Engelbert Humperdinck and Tom
Yeah.
Jones, and
Oh, Tom Jones too, and big. Dad was a big Dolly Parton fan. We know
oh
why, but he was a big Dolly Parton fan. So he had the Dolly Parton albums, and he loved Yeehaw. And I didn't understand until we got much older why Dad liked to watch Yeehaw. So, oh man, take a trip down memory lane.
heck
Uh,
yeah.
what is what is the best piece of advice you have ever given?
Um, Shut up and listen.
Yeah, shut up and listen. Was that given to you by a Catholic school nurse,
Oh,
school nun?
by my dad, because I always had so many questions. It'd be like, son, just shut up and listen.
Yeah, shut up and listen, boy. Uh, oh man, I got. Let's see here. Let's talk a little bit. You're not involved in any other advocacy groups that are in your part of town or anything like that you were involved or were involved in, but just the computer thing for the kids, correct?
Yeah.
Which is awesome. Which is awesome. That is awesome. Let's see. Where are my other questions? Why hey Addy, my computer's acting up.
Oh, damn.
No, I'm that guy that keeps tinkering and I see new things and I'm like, oh, hey, I'm going to try that. Hey, I'm going to try that bit of software. Hey, that app looks pretty cool. And Canon came out with some new software so I can utilize up to 4 cameras at one time through a USB port. And I paid for it, but yet as soon as I turn it on, my powerful computer turns into a toy.
Oh
So,
boy.
yeah,
And that's another thing about the community. It's who would have thought getting involved in vaping would have led you to become a promoter or start
exactly.
steering pictures, and that would be your future career.
Yeah. It was shocking to me because it was just like I've told this story, but it was my mom. It was my mom calling me at work and telling me about Blue. She's like, "Hey, I just saw this on TV on the Phil Donahue show." I'm like, "The Phil Donahue show?" And he's like, "It's the Blue. Go check it out. Go see what it is all about." And I set my sights to go and get it, but then a week or two went by, and I had my grandson outside, and my next door neighbor came over, and he was coloring, and I went to walk over, and we pick up our mail and start talking to him, and he bumps me with his elbow, and he goes, "John." And he points to my grandson. I turn around and my grandson is putting the crayon in his mouth like my cigarette. Like he was watching me with the cigarette and
Oh
he
boy.
was copying me with the crayon. And I said, that's it. I'm done. I have to find something. And I went and bought the Blues and that changed everything for me. And once I found out that, well, Modesto's a small town, so I didn't have a lot of e-liquid options. So basically, if I went from the Blue to you'll laugh, but it's what do you call it? God, I can't remember their names now. It's
Android.
no. This was the guy Zigzag.
Oh
Zigzag
yeah,
had a
yeah.
pen and juice. and that was my option. So I had like raspberry, blueberry, and it was just little bottles, and
Oh,
it was zigzag.
the Devil Company wasn't had the devil in it. They were that
Yeah.
from England or something.
Yeah, and then like a couple months down the road, I switched to vapor, opened up a shop in Modesto. Then the kiosks in the mall opened up, and I remember probably like you going, "Holy crap! I'm 15 mil bottles, $22." Like, but it lasted us.
I got really lucky. My stories, everybody's got their vape story, right? But in 2013, my mom was getting a hip replacement. She asked me to take her to her GP to get approval. Well, she couldn't quit smoking. So the nurse told me, look, take your mom down to a local shop. One just opened. So we did. It's 6 days later, myself, my mom, and my wife, we all were vaping and we all quit smoking.
Nice. Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about. It's just, and I'm sure even you did a little bit of researching yourself before you even got started. I think that's something that the groups out there don't realize, that, we didn't just jump into this. Nobody jumps into something like this. We still are smart enough to realize we're putting something in our body. We're putting
Right.
something in our
Right.
lungs. We're not just going to walk into a store and say, yeah, I'll try that.
Well,
It's
back in 2013, it was a lot easier to do the research because there
Yeah.
wasn't all this bullshit from the NGOs out there yet.
Right.
So it was, I found Grim Green, Phil Basardo, Gotcha 69, and I was off and running.
Yeah. Were you like me when you were watching Phil's videos? Did you get your dinner ready first and you sat down with a glass of wine because you knew it was going to be an hour? It was going to be an hour.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there eating my food, watching Phil. I'm like, oh, all right, yeah. But I learned so much.
The next video,
Yeah. I learned so much. I think that's where I think the group of us that started very early into vaping got the opportunity to learn from some of the best guys out there. Like, and some people may get upset at me using this name, but Rip Trippers showed me how to make my first coil.
Yeah,
Rip showed me.
That's how I learned to build. And the second shop opened up, and I started talking to him, and we became friends. And he didn't know how to build.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how to mix, so we made a trade off. He said, I'll show you how to mix if you show me how to build. So
beautiful. See, that's what I like. And I think, as time has gone by, yes, some of the channels have evolved and for good reasons. I mean, a lot of those, that was their livelihood, and that livelihood was being taken away from them, and they had to, jump into other review stuff, maybe stuff that we didn't really care about, whether it was RC cars or whatever,
right. But guitars.
yeah. I mean, but I feel like we were really lucky to have that group that came in early, and the Mike Vapes, the Grim Greens, and even Mark Fagan. Mark makes me laugh, and that's why I love watching Mark.
Mark's a really good guy when you meet him and you get to know him, but he has anxiety about being in the public. So
right.
People don't understand about Mark.
Yeah, because I keep missing him at the shows. Damn it! Every time I would go, it's like, no, we're not. I don't. And I get it's a lot. If you have that anxiety in dealing with complete strangers in not a little room, but a big banquet hall, but it's still something that's very difficult to deal with. But yeah, I think we really got lucky having that group at the very beginning teach us what we needed to learn. I mean, we even go back to as God, I can't remember Brian. Brian was great having that, in the kitchen, I think he called it, and he was doing the same thing.
Yeah, that was him in Fresh 03.
Yeah. So we were really, really lucky to have that group there to
Fresh
teach us that.
Right there.
Yeah. Fresh. And it's sad now because it's like those guys really, they can't really do those channels. YouTube will either ban them or some bot, or I'm going to call them bot, but some advocate that's out there that's going to go and dislike your video and write a a dispute and have your channel shut down or have your video pulled from there. It's horrible.
It's sickening. Real.
Fagan's the best. Fagan was always my favorite, still my favorite, because it's just, he made it fun to learn. And you didn't know where he was going to go with it. You didn't know what he was going to do. It was always funny. And he knew what he was doing. He'd always say, this is the best vape I've tried today. Letting everybody know that, every day, every new one is better. But he was, just jokingly, because that's what, everybody wants to hear. This one's better. This is the best one I've used. But Mark always made me laugh.
His wife's a sweetheart too, Angela.
Yeah.
A sweetheart.
Yeah. She puts up with a lot.
I miss the vape team. It was a great show.
The vape team was great to watch. Yeah, and ST's got a great show too.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, they keep it a little lighthearted, not too much advocacy there, but there's some vape talk in there every now and then. So it's just everyone's kind of in a bind. If you could, let me see here. I got a couple more questions, and then you wanted to do something. That's fine. Let's see here. If you could have a lifetime supply of anything, what would it be? Don't say e-liquid.
No, I need it lifetime supply. I would say knowledge.
Knowledge. You went deep, Addy. You went deep. Knowledge is power.
Oh, I like that. I like to be able to help people. It'd be nice to have that knowledge to do that.
Yeah. What is your favorite line from any movie?
They said it was $1 million room, but I ain't seen a penny of that money yet.
And you got, I think that's it. I got all the questions. You say you had some questions for me?
Well, yeah, I want to know the history of Sample Box and how you got involved. And is it part of your company or? No.
I found Sample Box by accident. And like I said, I was starting to branch out, and I was like, I wanted to try more things. But I realized that the little city that I lived in, I was basically stuck with Cutwood and who was the other one? There was like 3 brands I could buy from the kiosks, or I had to go to a shop called Switch the Vapor, and they had that big category book where you'd open it up and pick your, and they would mix it in the back.
Yep.
And I felt like I was missing, so I started doing a little Googling, and I ran into somebody on, no. It was, I want to say it was Matt. It was doing a Sample Box review, and I saw the box, and I immediately went to their page. I said, okay, I can have this brought to my house. I can try e-liquid from New York, Chicago companies, all over the country. And I signed up and got it going, and I joined their little group that they had. Well, it wasn't little, it was over like 15,000, 16,000 people, but the Sample Box family page. And that's where I realized how strong this community was. And it was just like everybody on that page helped each other. Everybody explained what was like. You could go on there and say, hey, my Geek Vape is not working. It does this. Within 10 seconds, you were going to get 100 responses on how to fix it. And everybody was just helping each other through that phase. And all of a sudden, Tony and the other guy, Tony, who's the owner of the company, saw that I was in the group page a lot and helping as much as I could, because I would watch videos, I would write, I take notes, so I would write what I see, and I try to apply that knowledge that I learned from those videos and try to help other people that were having the same issues, And he's like, hey, you want to be an admin on the page? And I was like, yes, I want to help people, get through this. And they invited me to be the admin, and then they had the big expo in San Diego. I think it was my first show. And Tony's like, I'm going to pay for you to get in. You come down. I'll meet you in San Diego. Paid for my hotel, paid for everything.
That's so cool, John.
I drove over there, and I met up with him at that convention, and that was the good old days, Addy, when it was all e-liquid. There was very little hardware there. It was just all e-liquid, just booth after booth
So
after
you probably
booth.
got to meet Pip, Suicide Bunny, and all those people.
Yes, yes. And the fact that I was walking next to Tony made it even better because everybody at that time wanted in on Zamplebox. Everybody wanted their liquid in Zamplebox because here we had a service that was, 350,000 subscribers worldwide. And it was an opportunity for not just people in the United States, but Australia, New England, all over the world to sample your little line from Wisconsin.
Yeah, right, right.
So when he he was talking to somebody else, and I heard already come into the show, and I got to see what it was like it was like royalty, and it was a weird thing to see because as soon as they saw it was Tony and the Zamplebox team, all of a sudden everybody just kind of flooded over there. Like, hey, here's my card. Here, don't come to booth 67, come to booth 8. Come see our juice. So I got to walk around with him. He introduced me to everybody. And it was so weird because it was just like I said, I felt like I know I hate to use this analogy, but it was like my dad introducing me to everybody on the Elks Club. Like, hey, here's my son, John, it was just very strange. And from that point on, I have always been a Zamplebox guy. I love the what they've done for thousands and thousands and thousands of people, and some of the companies. There are companies out there that I think owe Zamplebox a pat on the back because if their juice lines would never been saw, no one would have never seen Bautista vapes. Nobody would have known what that. Great coffee vape, but it was a local California thing. Nobody would have. And now that's a worldwide vape. They're everywhere. But yeah, that's how I got all started. And then I started taking pictures. I already took pictures. I was a landscape photographer. So, trying to change the way I take landscape photography for product photography. I wasn't that good at first, but I tried to get a little bit better. I could take a great shot of sunset, but I couldn't take a picture of this little 15 mil bottle.
And then it comes back to that all these directions that vaping brought people into.
Yeah.
I already know what kind of lenses and cameras you like because you already said what software you
just and I started the Instagram account, and that account quickly grew over 10,000, and it was fun because I got to meet all these people. I got to go to shows. I got to meet all the guys over at TVL. I got to meet the guys over at Hell Vape. And Dot Mod, I did pictures for Dot Mod, so I got to meet all those guys. And before
James
Dot, before Dot, before the transition, and after the transition,
over.
and after I dealt with them after the transition. I was a big fan of Dot stuff. I loved the quality that was there. I liked that they made it more of an adult product. That's what I felt about Dot. Dot wasn't trying to make something that was appealing to a younger audience. Their stuff is always slick, the good colors, just I always felt like they were a company that was trying to do it the right way as far as the adult vapor.
I always wanted to get to a Cali convention and never did. I went to a bunch around here in New York, but
the conventions in LA were insane. They were always insane. And I mean, Zamplebox sponsored one a few years, way back. But they rented the big, huge tent. They had the big they had they paid for a lot of stuff, and people got to come in there, sample stuff, and it's from that day, from that first show till today. It's like I would have never met Allison. I would have never met Tim. I would have never met Philip. I would have never met Tom. There's so many names that that come into my head that I would have never met these people ever. So, and the friendships that I created, and what we do together each Wednesday to fight for advocacy and fight for the history and community. I think I can't think of any other organization that does what we do every day and fight for what we want and what we feel is right. And I hope that we continue to keep fighting and the community stays together. And even after, I think even after, when all the dust settles, Addy, I think it's just going to be this big, huge fucking party. It's just going to be the
Oh,
World Vape Expo.
I hope I'm around to see it.
Me
But
too.
yeah, I want to say, thank you and your team for what you do for advocacy. And
Yeah.
I'm trying to do what I can to promote it more and get the audience a little bit bigger.
Yeah, it's fun, and like I said, whether I get one view or 10,000, as long as I'm helping one person through it, and get to understand how important this is to us, and that one person shares that information with somebody else, that to me is the best thing I can have. I get every now and then. There's a lot of people that watch the show, and they just, they're not chatters. They want to watch the show, but they don't want to comment. But then I'll get a DM like 2 weeks down the road. Hey, thank you, John. The advice you gave us, that worked, that helped me, So, that's the part I love. And I think if we continue doing that, and because they can't stop us from helping others. They can stop the industry from helping, but they can't stop us from saying, hey, you can't put that coil in there and go at that wattage, or you can't use that liquid because it's too thin. They can't do that stuff. We can build coils. We can show you how to wick. We can do all that stuff. And I think as long as we keep doing that stuff, I think eventually we'll win this battle. I really do.
And we can show you how to make e-liquid, because if you can make a recipe in the kitchen, you can put some e-liquid recipes together.
Yeah, the best family is the vape family, that's for sure. Well, Addy, I want to thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it. Like I said, I was excited all week to do this. I was like, I couldn't. I don't know if you ever been live. Have you ever been live?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Are you on some of the other shows?
On Fresh 03, I've been doing a show with him for years about e-liquid making.
I didn't even go look at that. I didn't.
Oh, no, that's fine.
Oh, nice! I would have stole a clip from that. Is that? I would have stole a clip from there.
Yeah, we got to get together sometime and talk about the old days and conventions. And
yeah.
I bet you have some great stories.
Yeah, I like I said, I loved going there. I loved walking in there. Yes, I won't lie, but I did get a lot of free stuff. But a lot of that free stuff, if you can ask anyone in my team, of all the free stuff I have, is all gone because I have given it away. Every single device that I got, the only stuff I've ever kept is dot stuff. I have all my dot stuff, and that's just stuff I love the way. Like I said, I like the way it feels in my hand. It looks, but I am still using. The G-Box is still my go-to.
Nice.
This has been with me and it stays with me. And, I just, to me, I'd rather get something and I'm not going to use it. I'm going to give it to someone that can use it, And I have people, I got, boxes and boxes of e-liquid from Zamba Box and stuff from Barista Brew Co. and a couple other companies. Unfortunately, that closed down when Washington went through their little phase up there. And I think there was a couple companies, I can't remember the names off the top of my head, but you remember when Washington went through that crap and then they kind of, they lost. And that was the first. That a lot of people don't know, but that was the first time I had to go get a lawyer because I was part of that FDA filing. Because yes, because one of the companies I was taking pictures for wasn't using the warning label. I would use the warning label thing on the bottom of my picture, the FDA warning, but they would repost it, use my name, but not show the FDA warning. So the FDA sent me a letter.
Oh boy.
And I'm like, how did I get it? I don't even own a company. So I got so I had to like, hey, you guys can't repost my pictures without that FDA warning, on Instagram, because now I'm part of this nonsense suit and I don't even own a company.
My God.
Yeah. So hey, everybody on the Wednesday Night Live team says they want you on the Wednesday Night Live show. So when you ever get some time and you want to join us on that show, we would love to have you on the
Yeah,
show.
next time you're looking, you need a filler or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You could call us like Nick does during the show.
And
Like Nick.
I love that story from yesterday. How Nick got to talk to that senator,
Yes.
the popcorn lung senator, and now they're best buds. And she texts him when she needs information about vaping. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's all we ask is just sit down and give us a listen. Okay, I'm not trying to change your mind. I'm not trying to make you come onto our side. I just want you to listen to the information I have, and then you can make your own decision, not based on just one side. Listen to my side, and I did that with my aunt. My aunt being in the healthcare, for over 30 some odd years, just being able to sit down with her and show her the studies and show her what's going on, and then when you see a whole country like the UK accept vaping and start handing out vape devices, and she reads that and sees that there are vape clinics in hospitals and they're giving products away to help people quit smoking. That's an eye-opener. That's someone saying, well, wait a minute, a whole country is not going to invest millions and millions of dollars to go down a route that they think is not as safe. So
hi, Michael. And that's part of my spiel, when I confront people who are smoking, and I'll say, there's a few hospitals in England, they have vape shops right in there. It's like, no, let's look it up,
Yeah. And then, they don't believe it. Like, no, not in the hospital. I go, no, in the hospital. There are vape shops in the hospital. They got clinics. You sit down, they'll talk to you. They'll ask you the questions that they need. They're going to set you up with a device that's going to work for you. And they understand how a 2-pack-a-day smoker needs a little bit more milligrams, and they understand how the 1-pack-a-day or the closet smoker. So, that's the one part. That is it. I want to thank you again, Addy, for doing this. It was fun getting to know you, and I would love to have you on the Wednesday Night Live show. We'll work something out. You'll see a topic. This will work, too, as well, too. If you see a topic that you want to discuss that we're working on, shoot us a DM in there, and we'll bring you right in. You have carte blanche. You have carte blanche. Just jump in.
Now, is it the same StreamYard link, or is it a different link for every show?
It'll be a different link for every show. Okay. So if you see a topic that we're going to be talking about on that specific day, and you want to jump in, just let me know in the chat, and I'll send you that link, and you can just jump right in. Awesome. And I know your stuff works. Your stuff works.
Yeah, well, it's great to get to know you a little bit too.
Yes.
And again, thank you for you and what your team does for advocacy and everybody in the chat right now. Thank you.
Yeah, everybody in chat is just amazing. Everyone's worked so hard, and seeing everybody on Twitter and then seeing everybody on our YouTube channel and our Facebook group page, it's just awesome. I like I said, friendships that I think I'll have for the rest of my life, man. And I love that. I love that.
Who would have thought it?
Yeah, who would have thought it? All right, everybody out in chat, we will see you guys next Wednesday. Again, thank you, Addy, and we'll just look into the camera and say goodbye.
Bye, everybody.